Do it.
Well, I don't even know what to call this. This had many names, and we're also taking suggestions. But one thing we do know what to call this is a podcast. I think that's what we can call this. Don't know where it's going to go, and I don't honestly even know how it started. But it's going to be a lot of fishing talk because, well, my life is mostly surrounded by fishing of some type or some type of fisherman. We'll get into that in a little bit. We do have a special guest on the first one. I don't know how you have a special guest on the first one, but we do have one.
Just makes it easier.
Yeah. And that wasn't him talking. So many of you probably know that voice. That was Kyle Vandever. We're going to have to do a little introduction on everybody.
You're telling me I'm not the special guest?
No. You're kind of more of a regular.
All right. Not even special a little bit?
No. Well, yeah, you're special. We don't even know what to call it yet. We don't have a name. Kyle had some pretty good names in the podcast generator. Apparently that's a thing on Google.
You can look up automatic podcast generator names.
Automatic podcast generator names. I think my favorite one was the Outdoor Burrito.
I felt like that was pretty fitting, honestly. The Outdoor Burrito, because it's like you can't really go wrong with a burrito, and then you just throw like a bunch of different outdoor topics in there and wrap it up, and you got a nice little podcast burrito.
This could turn into the Outdoor Burrito. It could be BP's bass class, but I don't really like that because it's like too bass fishing, even though that's who I am or part of who I am. That's not what this is all about. We're going to talk about life on the road. We're going to talk about hunting, fishing, probably camera gear and editing, and a lot of life stuff. That's my biggest goal. We've been joking, and actually I didn't even push record button. Kyle started pushing the record button because I have a bad habit of trying to perfect things and not actually executing on things. So this whole podcast actually started because I wanted something that I would execute on and not try to perfect it. So if the audio is not perfect, if this video is not perfect, well, it's the first one. And trust me, I'm going to be striving for perfection, but it's not going to start out that way. So here we are. I'm going to introduce Kyle. Actually, I'm going to introduce myself first. Some people may not know who I am. I'm pretty sure everyone that watches this first one or listens to this first one is going to be like, yeah, we already know who you are. Hi, I'm Brandon.
I was going to say, it's pretty fair, pretty much. Most people are going to know you.
Born and raised in Idaho. Professional bass fisherman. Going on 12 years now. That makes me feel really old. Fish on the Bassmaster Elite Series. The rest of that, you can look up BMPFishing.com. Yeah. Get your tourney tees there. See if we're already dropping stuff on this.
Is that a merch drop?
Yeah, that was a merch drop. Kyle, go ahead. We're going to leave special guest last.
Okay. My name is Kyle. I'm the cameraman for BMP Fishing. Good friends with Brandon and Tiff. Travel on the road with Brandon for the last. This is our 5th season shooting the YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, 5th one with Kyle.
6th overall.
6th series overall, yeah, or 6th season of BMP Fishing the series. Tiff, as he mentioned, is my lovely wife and our road cook.
She basically keeps us alive.
Yep. She is not the Elmer's glue. She's more the super glue that keeps this team together and operating.
Very true.
So she's not with us tonight, but she will be definitely in the future and will be a regular on whatever this thing is that we're speaking into right now. So we have Kyle, our lovely featured guest. I'm going to let him do some talking, but I'm first going to... Actually, no, I'm just going to let you go. Just introduce yourself.
Gonna let me go?
Yeah, just tell everyone, and then I'm gonna drop a little bit of knowledge here and there of from my perspective.
All right. Well, I'm Chad Smith. I'm from Minnesota. I'm trying to climb the ranks and be a pro bass fisherman like BP someday. But yeah, I don't know. Just fishing in the Bassmaster Opens right now as a pro, trying to qualify for the elites, and spent some time fishing as a co-angler and using that as my school to try to learn. But now I'm sitting on the inaugural unnamed podcast, which was very unexpected.
Yeah. So this is how Chad became our special guest on the very first one ever. He was our camera boat driver this week and did a mighty fine job. And, well, Chad happens to be a bass nomad and sleeps out of the back of his truck.
Yeah.
Didn't have a campsite for tonight. We had room at our campsite, so Chad is now in our trailer. But he's not going to sleep in our trailer. He's going to sleep in his truck because he's more comfortable sleeping in his truck.
Yeah, thank you for that.
That's how you know he's the real deal. And I feel like that's kind of where I want more of this to go, is the drive that sends people down that road. Because sleeping in the back of your pickup camper, like, and when we say pickup camper, we're talking just a camper shell on top of a decked drawer system.
Yeah.
Is that an actual mattress, or is that just a...
It is an actual mattress. I used to sleep on a blow-up mattress before I got the deck system, and then, like, when it got really cold, it would deflate, or I'd put my rods back there, and like a hook would hit, like, totally pop it. But then, so I was like complaining about it to my roommate, and then his girlfriend was over too, and she's like, I think we're getting rid of a twin mattress. I'm like, no, you're not. And they gave it to me, and it worked out perfect. Yeah.
This is how I know me and Chad are the same humans. If it's free, it's for me.
Yes.
When you're bass bumming it, that's free's your best friend, especially when it's usable items like a twin mattress that doesn't deflate when it gets cold. Now, here's my question, because I've done this backpacking in the backcountry hunting. When it deflates in the middle of the night, do you reach over and like give it a few more pumps? Blow it up a little bit.
Dang
it, Kyle.
I tried to hide it.
Gosh, dang it, Kyle.
Nah, I kind of just let it go.
Me and Kyle have the sense of humor of 13-year-old boys.
It's just like the
And
way
so
you
does
said
Chad.
it, though.
When I am sleeping on like an inflatable, like a thermarest or something like that, and I'm out hunting, I usually will blow it up to its maximum capacity, and then I lay on it, and usually it's like, I can't even say anything right now because it's going to go bad.
You had to use when it deflates. You give it a few pumps in the middle.
I can't even talk right now.
Oh boy!
When I air up my air mattress and it's too hard, I just reach over to the dial and I let a little air out until it starts to contour to your body. But if it gets too cold at night and it loses too much air, then I'll just kind of lean over there, give it a couple extra breaths, not pumps, breaths.
Better.
we don't have a hand pump to pump it with, so it has to be breaths. Okay. And I'll just inflate it a little bit more. That's what I was trying to get at.
I mean, I've been in a situation where, like, I didn't have. I don't know. I could have figured it out. Never mind. That was gonna be a rant. That
you don't just like sleep it through. Like I've
well,
done
no,
what
I've
you talked
totally,
about. I just
totally
ignore
just
it.
like woken up literally on the bed of my truck.
Yeah.
Taco shelled.
Yeah.
Folded inside.
Or like not even, just like on a cardboard mat. Is basically what it was like. And I even was so cheap that I super like I got the blow up mattress for like it was like $11 at Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
And I could have gone and gotten another one probably anywhere. And I just put like I hooked it once and I put a dab of super glue on it. And it worked. And I let it ride for like 2 months.
Brett is going to talk about exactly what I know what he's going to talk about from the
Well,
conversation before this.
I feel like Chad needs a super glue sponsorship.
Yeah.
How much super glue do you carry with you?
I don't know. It's like half the time it'll work. Like one.
Just
What do you mean half the time it'll work? Like you've had super glue failures, or
well, yeah, I mean, so you know what I mean. Like sometimes it'll like
the cap will
it'll
be
like
locked
glue
on.
up on you.
Yeah, it super glues itself shut.
Yeah, and you gotta like get it with a hook or like.
Yeah, I get I get what you're saying. I thought you meant like half of the things you've tried to super glue worked and half didn't.
Yeah, no, pretty much it always works.
Our earlier conversation was how Chad's been driving for 6 months on a super glued flat tire. I used to work at a tire shop and I'd never heard of such a thing.
It wasn't like flat, but like
was it losing any air?
Like maybe over like the long term. Maybe. It's like the only tire that doesn't hold air like the other ones.
So it's not like overnight or
no, it's
a couple months you'd have to air it up again.
Like a couple months probably. It's not bad. It's just like a pretty good dagger to the sidewall. I hit a curb pretty bad and I kind of just like.
So if you're out there and you've got a slow leaky tire, just grab a little super glue, a little Gorilla Glue.
Yeah, it's kind of like.
Yeah, what brand do you use super glue? I'm just curious. Or is it just generic
what
anything?
Is it? What's that one that's like
Quick Glue or something?
Like Loctite or something?
Oh. The gel version or not the gel version? It's like the side squeeze tab ones.
Like the generic, like the normal one. Not like any fancy.
Not like the brand.
Yeah, it's not
like the ones you pay like $15 for and it's like a little tiny tube.
Yeah,
not those.
Well, yeah, if you're going to drive on it for 6 months, it's worth the $15.
That's true. But
I mean, you want to spend $500 on a tire, or do you want to spend $15 on a bottle?
For how long has this been?
Well, I like last year at the Harris chain.
We've come full circle. He said half a year earlier, but now he's realizing it might actually have been 12 months.
The whole time driving into like where the weigh-in is, I was like pretty gun shy because I like always would see the curb that did it.
Oh.
And so, but no, I made it a year later, and it's okay.
I just realized that not once has he ever warned me about that curb.
So you're saying
we've been here for a week and never was like, hey, watch out for this curb.
Do you drive by it and you like see it?
No,
it's kind of like a
it's
connection.
the one when you come off when you're going into Venetian Gardens.
Yeah.
And you turn in to go launch your boat, and when you come out of it, like where the gate is, where there's like that little speed bump,
and
you come out and turn right, and there's like another car pulling in to turn in, so like I didn't have like a wide angle I could take, and I just,
that is not a boat friendly park.
No,
none of that is built for.
And it's one of those like right angle curbs, so it's not like a normal curb, so it just like sliced it when I hit it.
That's how I wreck trailer tires every single year.
Yeah.
Curbs.
At least you know now that you can use super glue, though, honestly.
Not to fix a wheel.
For 365 days, it does work.
I like the actual rim.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Oh, not the rim, yeah. I mean, maybe.
Sharpie will color it back up, though.
Yeah.
I've done that. Yeah. Makes it look better.
What's your most, like, bass bum story? I feel like you've got a few.
So I started traveling, sleeping in the back of my truck when I was like 16. So when I started fishing the Bass Nation, or what then was the Bass Federation, I would, like during the summers, I would travel for a month, and I didn't even have a canopy then, so I'd literally slept in the back seat. Pays to be a small dude every once in a while. So I was sleeping in the back seat, and I remember we had an Idaho qualifier in the southern part of the state, and I was not familiar with the area, sleeping in the back of my truck. And I mean, when you're a bass bum, you learn to kind of do a quick drive through and figure out where there's an available power source. This is before I even would pay for campgrounds. And then I learned like it's probably worth the $20 for power at a campground. But I made a quick lap around town. This is not a very big town. It's a pretty small town. And I found an empty lot, but I believe it was owned by the city because they had some of their heavy equipment, their dump trucks, like their gravel trucks, their road maintenance crew stuff. Well, there happened to be an outlet on one of the light poles. Perfect opportunity for a bass bum, right? A large parking lot and an outlet. That's all I need. I felt safe, so I backed in there, plugged my boat in, and, like you show up after dark, no one's around. You leave before daylight, no one's around. Like, yeah, it'll be fine. And I come back day 2, and there's a lock. So it was one of those outlets that has, like, the little plastic cover on it, but it was open the first day I showed up, so I plugged into it. Well, I come back the next day, there's a lock on it, but it's not actually locked. There's just a padlock on it, but they haven't closed the padlock.
So they saw you.
Nice.
I don't know how they would have seen me. Maybe they have cameras. I don't know. But I just opened the lock up because it wasn't locked.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I mean, maybe this isn't for me. So I opened it up, plugged my boat in, charged my boat that night, left the next morning, right? It's not like I was leaving my extension cord there. I was leaving no trace.
Right.
Leaving it better than I found it.
Right.
Come back the next night. Night 3, show up. Padlock is locked. Note is now attached to said outlet. Please find another place to park and charge. You're not allowed here.
Dang.
I don't know if they saw me. If
that's
they
crazy.
because there's no way they track their electricity like that.
Like, if anything,
Not
just
that
someone
quick.
come. If you know you're there, like, just talk to you, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know.
I
Maybe
don't know.
I should have
Or not.
put $5 in the little
Yeah, like it's
Shut
all
it.
good. Like,
here's $5 for your electricity that I use. I don't know.
it's like a ramp fee,
But I was young.
different.
I used to buy, this makes me sick to even think about now, but I would go to McDonald's and I would buy 10 $1 cheeseburgers and I'd just throw them in my cooler.
Dang.
And that's what I lived off of
You also have
for like 3 or 4 days.
You also told me about what is it? You'd get this might have been before that, but you used to get ketchup packets and warm water, and you would make
Tomato soup.
tomato soup with. That doesn't
That's
even make
legit.
sense.
How does it
Chad,
not
are
make
you-
sense?
have you ever been to that
That's
level?
No.
that's the most free meal you can get.
Yeah,
It's
but
not the most nutritious, but it's like the most free meal you get.
so you put warm water and ketchup and then stir it up and then pretend it's ketchup or tomato soup, not ketchup soup.
Well, yeah, it's made out of the same stuff pretty much.
We'll do a taste test later.
It's tomato. Yeah.
I have not done that.
Tomato
And
ketchup,
I like
water.
ketchup and water, but I don't know if I would like that.
It gets the job done.
Would that be like a dinner?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. I mean, not lunch. It's like it's too hard to get hot water when you're out fishing.
Sure.
Yeah.
But for dinner, yeah. Knock down some tomato ketchup and hot water.
Yeah.
Get that for free. Walk into McDonald's, just a little cup of hot water, grab some ketchup packets.
McDonald's will give you a cup of hot water.
I mean, they have
Yeah.
a lot of them
Some
have
places
like
do.
hot.
Yeah.
They have like the hot
Yeah.
water little spout thing.
Yeah.
I got it now.
You don't have to ask them for a cup if you already got a cup.
True. Been there.
Oh man.
Yeah. Do you have any of those?
Do I?
Yeah, you and like Megs the van.
Dude, I don't know if I've definitely never done the ketchup hot water thing, but I've done some. I'm a pretty avid fan of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So you can do that pretty cheap too. That's honestly probably my pretty standard diet right now in my life.
Top ramen burrito.
Brandon
Yeah.
told me. Have you heard about the top ramen burrito?
No, but I feel like I know what it is.
It's honestly it's great, but I'm pretty sure like cooking anything in top ramen plastic is not good for your body.
No,
Probably not
none of these are
healthy.
like more health beneficial.
No,
eating healthy is
the only thing
more
healthy is your
expensive.
wallet ish.
The top ramen burrito
Saving
though
your
is
wallet.
basically you crush up the top ramen in the bag.
Yeah.
Then you dump hot water in the bag with the ramen noodles.
Yeah, you're getting it right so far.
And then you kind of roll it up like a burrito, or you let it soak in the water for a minute, and then you drain the water.
Yep.
You roll the bag back up and cover it with
you need a towel or something.
To keep that heat.
Mm-hmm.
And then you wait like a couple minutes and
1 minute.
1 minute exactly, according to Brandon.
Yeah.
And then you can unwrap it, and it's a perfectly formed top ramen burrito.
I saw someone do that with Flamin' Hot Cheetos on TikTok.
Oh.
And I don't know how I felt about it, but I definitely wanted to try it.
Like soggy Cheetos?
Well, like, no, they do like the ramen deal, but they'd like crush up the hot Cheetos, so it'd be like
for the
Flamin'
flavor.
Hot Cheeto flavored.
Dang.
It kind of looked like a hack. It kind of looked.
I feel like I would
one of
just
those
make
things
the
I'd
top
probably
ramen burrito, take a bite of the top ramen burrito, and then eat a Cheeto.
Yeah, that would probably. That'd suffice.
I feel like that'd work. Or, I don't know, crush them up, and that's what I would do. I would crush up the Flamin' Hot Cheetos and then put them on after so that
It's like a little topper.
You had the little crunch effect.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd feel good about like the crunch or the soggy Cheetos.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of weirded out, but I did see that.
Jeez.
That's the first thing that came to my mind. Yeah.
I'm going to segue out of our nutritional talk. I want to go down the road of Chad's, not your life story. We don't need all your life story. We're not even going to give people your actual full name. We're gonna have you back and wait till another time before we get down that road.
Right on.
But I do want to know, and this is more for my personal knowing, how did you get started on down the fishing road? Because I know that you traveled with Josh Douglas, but I don't know anything before that.
Yeah. I mean, really, it just dates back to like when I was super young. As long as I can remember, like I don't have like a really significant moment or anything that I can recollect that like got me hooked on bass fishing, but my grandpa and my dad's side of the family especially, it was like super just outdoorsy.
Yeah.
Hunting, fishing, all around. And I don't know, they just kind of got me into fishing when I was younger, and I always like really had a knack for it or like wanted to do it all the time. And we would have a cabin in northern Minnesota, and that kind of just like I'd be fishing all day. Like that was like I was just younger, waking up before the sun would. We had like a canoe out there, and I'd actually go out to like sandbars, and I'd fish like deeper diving crankbaits. And when it was slick calm, like as the sun was coming up, and I would cast in the direction I wanted the canoe to go because it was so calm, and it would slowly move me in that direction, and I'd work the sandbar that way so I didn't have to paddle. And like
That's pretty solid.
So it just like was stuff like that, I got really into it. And then like in that middle school time frame, I got really into like the tournament scene, or like, more knowledge, or realizing that there was more of that out there.
Did you learn about that from like magazines, TV shows, local people?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'd seen magazines.
Family.
Yeah, it really honestly turned into like, actually, a guy my sister knew at the time was like really into it, and he was a really good local fisherman. His name's Dusty Man, or Mon, and he like I got introduced to him because I was like into bass fishing, and then he took me out, And then that's when like the spark really hit for like the tournament side. And like he and his tournament partner were like doing really well locally on Lake Minnetonka. And then that's how I got to know like who Seth was, Seth Fighter, and his tournament partner, John Figgy, and Josh Douglas and stuff. And so then, and I worked at Gander Mountain in high school, and I got to meet Kyle Wood, who's now like one of the head journalist guys or whatever.
Yeah.
Now MLF. And he was in college. I was in high school, and we were working at Gander Mountain together. And then I got a call from Kyle one day because he knew Figgy a little more. And he's like, hey, like Figgy needs a link for an open on the James River. And like, would you be interested in that? And I'm like, kind of barely even knew what an open was, really. So like, it was just funny. And like, ended up talking to Figgy, and he was like, yeah, like, I want to leave in like 2 days. I'm like, I graduate high school like this week. And I'm like, hang on, let me call you back. And actually, like, a crazy part of the story was I went to talk to my high school counselor at the time about like missing graduation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, so I'm like going to this fishing tournament. She's like, oh, that's so cool. She's like, I know a guy who's like really into fishing around here. Like his name's John Figgy. And I'm like, that's who I'm going with. And she's like, no way. Yeah, you don't have to walk at graduation. Go have fun. Like it was just like the coolest moment ever. And so I don't know. It was just kind of one of those things.
Like it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Like that was the path you were supposed to go down.
It was weird.
Because the odds of your
just how
high school counselor knowing the person that you were leaving with in 2 days.
Yeah. And like that's the stuff you just don't see coming. It's kind of like you just jump with it.
You're also the only person I know in the Midwest possibly that actually just says Gander Mountain, not Gander Mountain.
Just a little accent in there.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't really have it.
Yeah, it felt like it was a full-on West Coast guy.
Yeah.
Right on.
That surprised me.
That's kind of what I'm going for.
And you said it the first time. I was like, oh, maybe it just sounded normal. And then you said it again, and it sounded normal again. Caught me off guard. That's eerily similar to how I got started.
Yeah.
With a family friend.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I walked at graduation. But if I have had a tournament, I definitely would have skipped that.
Didn't you, you kind of said college wasn't for you over a tournament fishing thing, right?
Yeah, that's why when I was listening to that, I was like, man, that is eerily very similar to my story.
Yeah.
One of my mom's best friends got married to a guy that fished local tournaments at home, and I was fortunate that he was really good, still is really good, and like you said, the first time that I went out with him, that was it. It's like, here we go.
Kind of opens your eyes or something.
Yeah, but I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
And said, that's what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And by the time I was in college, even though it wasn't that long ago, there wasn't college fishing. Right?
Yeah.
It was just starting.
Yeah.
And I remember I had a Western Regional, and it was actually on Potholes in Washington. And it was the same week as our finals. And I went to my teachers and wanted to take my finals early, and my calculus teacher would not let me take it early. Said everyone had to take it the same day. So I said, I won't be there.
Yeah.
I won't be there. And I bailed out on my calculus class and never went back.
Yeah.
And I ended up winning that, or I finished 4th overall. I finished 2nd for the state of Idaho. The Idaho guy won the whole thing and made it to nationals as a non-boater.
Okay.
And that's where I first hung out with Justin Lucas.
Sweet.
He made it for California.
Yeah.
As a co-angler.
Yeah.
My roommate at that event, so I was 18. My roommate, because they paired you just with another competitor.
Okay.
I guess to save on hotel rooms.
Oh, okay.
But so here I am, 18-year-old kid, travel all the way to Lake Wiley.
Yeah.
Get paired up with a guy to stay with for the week. Guess who it was?
Who?
Matt Robertson.
No way.
Swear.
Holy
so me
cow.
and Matt Robertson were roommates when
What?
I was 18.
wild?
He was about the same age.
Super
Isn't that
wild.
crazy?
Yeah.
He didn't quite have the same hairdo and stuff, but he sounded exactly the same and had the same attitude. Yeah, so
awesome.
like me and Lucas were there. Matt Robertson was there, and then
What if I would have guessed that right? Would you have been like, yeah?
that would have been
Like I don't know. That sounds
would have been
right.
impressed.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. What?
Would have figured you heard it somewhere hanging out with him or something.
Yeah.
And then I fished with my day one partner was Brian Maloney, who is like a hammer around the Ozarks.
Okay.
And it
I think
is
I've heard of
crazy
that
how
one.
many friends I met there from that.
Yeah.
And one of the coolest parts of this story, and this is just exactly how this podcast is going to go. It's going to go down a bunch of random roads, but there's going to be little tidbits of information like this that come into this. Sponsorships are all about relationships and networking. You've realized that by now.
For sure.
Vandy Hammer's still trying to learn that, but he's kind of got a bad attitude.
It's not looking good for him.
Yeah, if you don't know who Vandy Hammer is, you just look him up. He's a special character.
It's a scary thing. Don't be careful what you look for.
It's a dark rabbit hole. And so, same tournament, Lake Wiley. They held those events in conjunction with the then FLW tour.
Yeah.
And back then, the Pure Fishing, so like Berkeley and Trilene, Fireline, all that, and Abu Garcia, they had a trailer. So their pro staff manager took a trailer to those events and would, if their anglers needed anything, they had an entire enclosed trailer full of product.
Yeah.
All of my tackle and my rods and my reels got stolen on the way to that event. So I flew them.
Jeez.
Here I am, 18-year-old kid, all the way across the country. Don't have any money in my bank account.
Yeah.
And all of my rods, reels, and tackle got stolen. I had my reels in my suitcase with my clothes, no reels, and I have a TSA inspection ticket in there. My rods never show up in my rod tube, and my tackle bag never shows up. Still to this day, I've not seen it.
Dang.
So I have nothing, and I'm about to fish the biggest tournament of my life. I'll get to where this all makes sense and how it ties into sponsorships in a little bit. So I talked to the tournament director. He gets me hooked up with who was then, I believe she was the pro staff manager. That would be her title for Abu Garcia in Berkeley. And tells her my story. She's like, hey, just come over and we'll get you hooked up.
Yeah.
Like, I've been writing like emails to companies,
Yeah.
getting every no or even worse, silence
Yeah.
from every company that you'd write an email to.
Yeah.
And here I am with nothing, like what I felt like was the lowest of lows in my life. And I walk in, she gives me a giant hug and has a cardboard box full of tackle, a handful of brand new rods, which they were actually Fenwick rods at the time,
Okay.
and a box full of reels.
Sweet.
And it's like, here you go, fish the event.
That's awesome.
And I was like, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll bring it all back when I'm done. She's like, no, just keep it. You'll need it more than I do. And so then I fished with that stuff for a long time after that. And I had stayed in touch with her. Her name was Tammy Cox.
Yeah.
Some people listening to this may know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so fast forward like 4 or 5 years later, I end up winning the national championship for the Federation and qualifying for the elites in the Classic. And little did I know that she had been following it.
Sweet.
And that was how I got on and had signed with Pure Fishing my first year on tour.
Sweet.
Was because
For sure.
all of my tackle got stolen and I got connected to someone that provided me with it, stayed in touch with them over the years, And then when the opportunity came, that's how I got my first deal.
So it's darkest before the sun comes up.
Yeah. You have no idea who you're going to run into or when you're going to run into them. Or sometimes when you get into those situations where you're like, this is as bad as it gets.
For sure.
There's always a reason for it. You just may not know it in that moment.
I think it just goes back to just being in it, like, and just keeping in it to then, like, it just, like, I feel like every single relationship I have in the industry at all has been totally just random story. That it's just because I've been around and put myself in it to be, you know.
Yeah. You've been sleeping in the back of your truck so you could be around it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
And through that, you now have a sweet wrapped boat that you get to drive around fishing all 9 of the opens.
Yep.
And I mean, essentially, it's funny because you're living your dream.
Yep.
Trying to make it to your dream.
Right. It's
trying to qualify for your dream.
That's crazy too. But
weren't we talking a little bit about that this week?
Yeah.
We were kind of saying like this is the part, because I was kind of like even relating you and
Is this
right away when
is
we
this
got
when I
together.
wasn't catching any bass?
This is like before you even took off day one. We were like first thing right away in the boat together.
You guys went into some heavy conversation right away.
We're bros.
Straight into some deep stuff.
It was crazy.
But no, we were talking about that. It's just like it all just, like, as cliche as it sounds or whatever, like, enjoy the process. Like,
even
like
the struggle
right now, like I told you in the boat, I was like, obviously I want to qualify for like the elites or something, but like right now, like I don't know if I care that much, because everything I've wanted 6-7 years ago is exactly what I have right now.
Yeah.
So like I'm just trying not to be too far like tunnel visioned ahead of me, and just like trying to enjoy like the growth right now. I feel like I'm learning, because it's like I like hit a point where now I get to like focus on such a next level that I'm just grateful to even, have that.
Yeah. Well, and I think everyone that knows you knows that it'll happen when it's supposed to happen.
It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. And the good thing is that you've built those relationships that when it does, you've set yourself up in a really good position, right? And I think that's part of the process of being out here, right? How many years did you spend as a co-angler?
Like almost 5.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. But that's also a ton of knowledge, because you get 2 to 3 days on the same body of water with 2 or 3 different guys that may approach that body of water completely different. Some you look at and you're like, this is absolutely a train wreck.
Yep.
And some guys you're like, holy cow, this guy's dialed.
It was cool too, because I got to travel with Josh. So like, or most of the time, or I've been in a boat with like Seth for a couple days for an opens practice, or his partner John Figgy, who I initially started with, and like just watching them, how they break down a body of water. Like I think I've had a tendency, just with spending so much time with Josh, to like maybe like gain some of his style of how he breaks down water or something like that. But like, I mean, that just comes naturally with being around someone so long. But it's just cool. Like, it's a cool perspective to have outside looking in, how people make decisions and what has worked, what doesn't.
Yeah.
And kind of just like, I think the most valuable thing wasn't doing it for just like 1 year, like I had it just, I don't know, it hasn't really shown necessarily for like my performance lately, but I like, it's just adding to the journal of the experience on the water.
I think that makes you a better fisherman too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think like not only just now, but like throughout your perspective on that. Is a good view, rather than like, I need to be there right now, and you kind of press. and you kind of
Yeah.
like, you see people that they like, you're enjoying the process where you're at now, where you're allowing yourself to like absorb all that knowledge that you get from people, and
Totally.
the not just like the fishing, but like the life of what it takes to be a professional fisherman.
For
Because
sure.
like on the water is like half of the battle, maybe.
Yeah.
Would you agree? Like, do you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean,
The mental side, and then like also like the travel, the logistics, the keeping in it, the wanting
Yeah.
to be there.
on the water is the battle, but it's not the war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it is. It's such a. I mean, it's where you make a name for yourself. It's where you get the recognition. It's not necessarily where you get the respect. But I mean, there is a level of it that comes with that when you catch them, right? But I mean, catching fish, all that does is that just gives you a name and gives you credibility.
Right.
But it doesn't actually just mean that you've made it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And even when you qualify, I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions. And I was even guilty of this. I thought that when I qualified that there were just going to be sponsorship deals everywhere. And
Right.
there was going to be money everywhere. And that's just not the case.
Yeah.
And so but a lot of times that's because when guys, they go fish 1 year in the opens, they qualify, nobody knows who they are.
Yeah.
And even though they've qualified, they haven't proven themselves yet or gained that respect from the industry to get those deals where there's guys that are fishing the opens that have more of a name because they've been around it for a while, right? I mean,
for sure.
Like, how long did Josh fish the opens? Fished for a long time. And he fished the FLW
9-10 years or something.
Yeah.
And he did the tour for like, I don't even know, 4 or 5 maybe.
Yeah. And I think, like you made a great point of like not pressing it, like I think you were saying that, Kyle, of like of not feeling like you have to be there right now.
Yeah.
And just continually learning, like falling in love with that knowledge and gaining that knowledge, because when you do make it, that just makes you that much more deadly.
For sure.
Because you have, and it makes you appreciate the good stuff.
I feel like I'm happy right now doing it. Like it's not a pressure. Like I just am like so far this year. Don't get me wrong. At the end of the season, it's it's a lot, but like kind of thing. But I mean, right now, it's like just genuinely fun again, and I feel like I haven't had like that kind of feeling for the past couple of years as much as I feel like I do now. I've always,
Really curious
love it,
to see what
but-
what it looks like on paper.
Yeah, me too. I am too.
Because
I'm
generally,
feeling-
when you're enjoying it, it looks way better on paper
for sure. So
at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for it too. I'm excited for this year in general, and just
That's exactly
do it.
where you're
Yeah.
talking about, like trying to force it. That's what happens. Like when guys get in ruts,
yeah,
that's what I see happen a lot of times.
yeah,
Right? Is either they're not enjoying it.
yeah,
That can come from a million different things,
yeah,
right? Mostly outside sources of some type, whatever that could be. That could be family stuff or health stuff, whatever.
yeah,
But they don't have that. They're not enjoying it. And I think maybe I started saying this last year. I don't remember. So much stuff comes out of my mouth that I don't remember all of it or I remember some of it, but I don't remember when I said it. Is talking about how much you have, that I guess not how much you love this, because loving is not enough.
yeah,
You have to mentally and physically not be able to live
yeah,
without fishing to make it in the sport, because it's a losing game,
for sure.
right? Even our most winningest angler of all time, Kevin Van has lost more than he's won.
Right.
If you think about that, if you just love something and you get kicked in the teeth that often, you will learn not to love it.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
loving it is not enough.
Yeah.
And then you throw in on top of all of the other parts of professional fishing on top of it, all of the business side and the travel and the time away. Loving it's not enough anymore, right? Then that's how guys learn not to love it. It's how it becomes not fun.
For sure.
And then you hear the term
it becomes
burnout.
a source of income. Yeah. Like I think they
becomes
just
a
see
job.
it becomes a job.
For sure.
And I think when you do that, and I think you kind of like I wanted to touch on it too, is like you see the guys who are very successful, and I think as they continue to get that success, there's less pressure for them to, there's less pressure on themselves, or they put less pressure on themselves, and they understand like it's just a matter of time before they win the next one, rather than pressing. Like you see like the KVDs and stuff, like the way he approached his first tournament versus when he has won his 18. How many? He's won how many?
28 elites, I believe.
28 elites. And think of that, like how his progress and even your progress from number 1 to number 5, how that's changed, like how different your ability to keep composed in those situations is totally different. And just those growth of those years, and that's like stuff like you, Chad, like the next 10 years, whatever that be, like the growth you'll have from now to then is going to be insane.
For sure. I mean, it's weird to put in perspective of even just like these past 5 years, to now. Like it seems like it flew by or not that long ago kind of thing. But looking back, like, holy cow, so much has passed that like I'm excited to see 5 years from now.
Yeah.
But I'm also just like I've gotten to a weird point that I just have been enjoying like the grit of it.
Yeah.
Where like I don't necessarily want to reach my goals because then I don't know what's next. But like, I mean, that'll come with time. But it's kind of like one of those things that like I like having, and fishing's cool like that in particular because you have something to work for like all the time. You can never win at too many. You can never.
How old are you?
26.
Yeah, you're well beyond your years.
I feel like that dirtbag grit is like something you have, like that's like I respect that so much. Like
because that
even
is
like
you.
But like yeah, I love it. I love the life. But no, like even like Caleb Kupal. Him sleeping in the tent at Chickamauga when it was downpour rain that night.
No, that wasn't Caleb.
Or who was that?
That was Bob.
Bob Downey. But Caleb,
you ever heard that?
Caleb
Have you heard me tell that story?
No, I don't know.
So, and this is a shout out to Bob Downey, and I will never forget this. We were, and it actually kind of made me feel lesser of myself. We were at Smith Lake, and there was an open. I was signed up for the open, and then the next week was the Bass Pro Tour event. I was trying to decide if I was going to fish the open or the Bass Pro Tour event at that point, and ended up not fishing the open. And so we were already there. We were parked at the campground. And I remember one day it was absolutely downpouring. And me and Tiff's got treats.
Oh, snap.
No way. Does she have cookies?
Yeah, this is exactly how this is going to go because this is not perfect. Yeah, those are acceptable.
She has chocolate
she's
chips.
just
She
waving.
just made those cookies.
She's just
too.
waving.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, watch this. These are just going to appear in camera.
Oh my god.
For those of you that don't see this on video.
The thing is, there's 4 cookies and there's only 3 of us. Okay, there's more.
Oh, there's more in the This is going to be a Rochambeau for the...
Yeah. Right on.
Dang, cheers, boys.
Yeah, cheers.
Thanks, Tiff. Apparently, you could get chocolate chip cookies. For any future guests, don't expect chocolate chip cookies.
That's right.
Those are good.
I think
Fresh,
everyone
too.
can just hear that, like the little bit of outside crunch.
We can have the ASMR or whatever it is now. Like,
oh, amazing.
Yeah, the TikToks are the oddly satisfying noises. I'm not going to chew my cookie for you guys because that's weird.
I feel like I have to like sit back from the mic.
I don't want to do the chew because it's pretty good.
That's why Yeah, that's why real podcasts never actually feed their guests, I guess. That was a really good cookie, though.
Yeah.
She nailed that one.
But back to Bob. I wanna hear Bob's
back to
story.
my story about Bob. Thanks for reminding me because that cookie made me forget. So it's absolutely downpouring. I mean, it is getting after it. It's not that warm. And I think it had quit for a little bit. So me and Tiff take Bella, our dog, for a walk. And I look, and this dude is sleeping in his tent. I mean, everything he owns is just drenched. And I didn't know it at the time, but it was Bob Downey. And he was fishing the opens, sleeping in a tent, just doing whatever he could to make it. Yeah. And it's funny now because that was the year that he qualified for the Elite Series. And it's amazing how often I see that, and then those are the guys that make it.
Yeah.
And I think there's a mental side of it when you do that creates a different level of drive that ends up qualifying those guys.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know if it's more focus because there's less distractions. If there's like a need or a want that goes deeper, but there's definitely something that when I see that, those are the guys that oftentimes make it. The guys that have an easy road, oftentimes I think they're too comfortable, and next thing you know, they're in the opens forever and they never get out.
I think in those moments you get to know who you are a lot more.
100%. My most lonely moments are when I figured out who I am the most on a personal level, right?
Yeah.
And I think, and especially in the places that you don't have cell service.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
You and your thoughts.
Yeah. And for me, that's why I love backcountry hunting.
Yeah.
Because I love to get away and like you push yourself to the limits. I mean, it's a little bit different than fishing, but
yeah,
because you're out there 10, 12, 15 miles in the backcountry, but there's something about chasing a dream and doing it that way that I don't know. I don't even.
It's like I've just noticed like outdoorsmen usually in general, or at least like it's a cool like niche of people that have a very similar way of being able to talk like we are right now.
Yeah. In terms
fishing
of
is our language.
Yeah.
Right.
But like I think you understand those moments of like there's a special thing about being outside and being like alone a bit. Like that you're allowed to kind of like you process things, you have more clarity maybe.
Yeah.
But it's just like one of those things I think like you have a common understanding of what that is.
For sure.
Because like Brandon talks about being in the backcountry, like it doesn't mean that you're hunting. It could be your backpacking. It could be your fly fishing. You could do like you just know those moments where it's like you're kind of like you have a lot of clarity in your head and there's no noise, no cell phones, no any of that stuff, no emails to be answered. It's just you in there. You're there now.
Keeps you in the present.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Oh, sorry.
What'd you say? What'd you say?
It keeps you present. Like,
very true.
Like keeps you in the present moment, right? That's where you're living. That's where I try to live now. A lot of it comes from reading.
Yeah.
Like as I get older, since I am getting older now. I mean,
Says the 26-year-old.
I mean, I'm 34. I'm 34, but I qualified when I was 22, so I feel like I'm older now.
You're experienced.
Yeah. Seasoned.
Right.
Seasoned. Seasoned like a great filet mignon. But I'm not a piece of meat.
I was going to say, this is the part of the podcast where it just starts getting weird? Or?
Yeah, but I'm not a piece of meat, so don't use me like it.
No,
But I feel like that's where I try to fish, right?
Mhm.
Try to fish with your limbic brain.
I do take a lot from, like, even in the videos, just recording them and hearing you talk on the water about those decisions that are made and you don't fully understand why you're making them, other than the fact that something is telling you that's the right thing. And it's like trusting your instincts. It's like it is your instinctual brain that's telling you to do those things.
Well, that comes with the experience.
Experience, yeah.
Right. So put yourself in as many situations as possible. And that's, so I guess, let me take a step back. My whole goal in fishing, well, I have many, but this is one of them that is kind of recently developed, is to be able to subconsciously, I guess, run through equations or variables in my head and have the outcomes, right? And so you physically see, like, the outcomes, right? Like, you physically see me making the decisions, but I'm doing those off of, quote, instincts.
Yeah.
But those are based from situations that I've seen in the past.
Right.
So I believe the guy that wins every week is the guys whose light bulb goes off the quickest.
Yeah.
And that happens by experience, seeing those situations. But the more that you can do that subconsciously, the better off you are, because then it opens up your mind to make those decisions, to see things differently on the water, right? I mean, think about when you first started throwing a bait caster.
Right.
You had to think about the whole entire process, right? Like, okay, I need to push my thumb down. I need to, like, load the rod up. I need to release at this point. I need to keep this amount of thumb pressure.
The bait hits the water.
Yeah, like, you had to think about the entire process.
Yeah.
You're still doing that to this day.
Yep.
But you're doing it subconsciously.
Right.
You have created the muscle memory in your brain and in your arms and everything to do that, where now that's just one less thing that is taking up, like, your thought process.
Yeah.
Because your brain can only process so much information, right? It's like memory in a computer. It can only process so much. That's why Premiere crashes on Kyle all the time. His computer only has so much memory that it can handle at one point. So when you dump a bunch of 4K footage in it, you got all these variables. It's like sleep.
Spazzes.
Yeah. Wrong decision.
Yeah. Wrong. You should have fished the hydrilla at the Harris chain. Sorry, bud.
So you're telling me if I don't backlash as much on my bait caster, I'm going to be a better fisherman?
Yeah.
I mean, your subconscious brain is going strong.
Less backlash means more casts, which means more opportunity.
So, ultimate goal is to start fishing like it is riding a bike.
Exactly.
Very true.
Which is where your casting is, right? And so the more you can do that, the more, or I guess the better off you are. And I feel like
that's a good point.
I continually, like, once I guess I kind of processed that, then I started trying to work towards that, and it really changed how I approach fishing. And because I look at it from much more of a learning aspect, I guess. Yeah. And then because I know I'm trying to do that, I end up trusting my instincts.
It's probably a little more exciting in a weird way.
It is.
To a degree. Or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not like it's not exciting, but
no, it
probably makes that extra kick.
Yeah, it just gives you a different level, right? And I guess I have a little bit more of an understanding of, like, okay, that's why I'm making this decision. Or sometimes I don't even know. Yeah. Which I do know, because there's something telling me that, right? Yeah. And like, if you're driving down the lake and you're like, man, that looks good. Man, that looks good. Well, something has to tell you that looks good. Yeah. Some past experience says that there should be a bass living there because of whatever it is, right? Yeah. It could be a current seam. It could be the right mixture of grass, or there's a dock and then you're staring at your Lake Master charts and you're like, oh, there's a channel swing right up against that dock and it's an isolated dock all by itself. Like, oh, maybe a big fish lives there.
It's like a fishing burrito.
Yeah. Yes.
All
Guess
the goods
what?
kind of come
Bass
together.
love burritos. And that's how I've been trying to fish, right? And do that on a daily process.
I think that will mean you will go far, a wise one. Because, like, you know, you're reevaluating where you're at constantly then.
100%.
And it's going to keep you sharp.
Yeah. And you're constantly changing. I'll be the first one to say that I don't know that I will fish like Rick Clunn.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not going to do it till I'm in my mid-70s.
I think Rick Clunn's like there is only going to be one Rick Clunn that fishes that way for that long.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like I don't think you can. I don't think there's
at that
Rick's
level,
not normal. Like that's insane.
Like Guy Ager's still fishing.
Yeah.
And he's got it. I don't know exactly what Guy's age is, so forgive me for that. But he's got to be about the same age as Rick, if not a little bit older. But he's fishing the opens. That's not the same as fishing the elites.
Still.
Right. No.
But still getting up in the morning and being on a bass boat. And, I mean, the thing is that Rick's still competitive.
Yeah.
And you were talking about it on stage, right?
Yeah.
What he said?
Yeah, no, he was.
Because I didn't hear it, so I'm going to let you talk about it.
Yeah, no, it was crazy just to watch Rick Clunn walk across stage because, like, I've been to a couple, like, elite weigh-ins, but, like, it's been a long time since I've seen Rick Clunn in person.
Yeah.
But he was saying, I'm just trying to remember, he's like, said something about, like, how...
His mind and his body, right?
He's
talking about how his
I kind of needed
body...
a kickstart. But yeah, he's like, my body just can't keep up with my mind anymore. But like when he stops feeling like that, like energy behind it, like he just can't stop doing it. Like it goes back to like what you said. He can't live without it.
Yeah,
I think
it is who he is.
Yeah,
he's been professionally fishing longer than we've been alive.
Yeah, and he even made comments. He's like, I just gotta get back in better shape and stuff. And I'm like, that's amazing that you like just like that mindset. It's crazy. He's like it just doesn't matter. He's like, I just gotta get back in shape. Like there's no excuses. There's no nothing.
Yeah.
But he'll just be brutally honest too. Like his body can't keep up with his mind anymore. He's thinking things, but he can't necessarily do it all. No.
He's always had a really realistic approach.
Yeah.
But I've always loved his like mental approach.
Yeah, it's
to
cool.
The sport.
It's crazy.
He finished like 20 something this week, didn't he?
I think he beat me.
I think he beat you. But 2 years ago he won at St. John's.
Yeah.
He's won the St. John's like 2 of the last 3 or 4 times we've
Isn't
been there.
That insane though? That's incredible.
Yeah, and it's not like, oh, it wasn't fishing good. He won when it was like massive weights, blowouts, like 30-plus pound bags.
I didn't really watch fishing back then, but when I saw Rick Clunn setting the hook, I think it was on a spinner. I can't remember what it exactly was.
It definitely wasn't a spinner rod.
No, a spinning bait.
Oh, a spinner bait.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I remembered that, and I was just like, dude, this dude is getting after it. And you can tell, like, he's an older dude, but, like, the way he moves at that age is insane.
It is.
Yeah. I honestly don't think he gets enough credit for what he does for his age.
Yeah.
Think of how many people are in nursing homes in their mid-70s.
Yeah.
For sure.
And the dude's, and he's out here competing, sometimes 7 days a week, right? 3 days of practice,
That's
4 days of a tournament.
Yeah.
And he's doing it every day. And he's been doing it for 40-plus years.
Crazy.
Like, I felt like he walked better than me.
He definitely walks better than Kyle.
Dude, yeah. Well,
Kyle hasn't been wearing his boot.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
His broken foot and his boot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's insane. It's insane. And huge respect to
Yeah, totally.
And it goes back to like what you said too, is like we said a few times, is like you got to want it more than anything. You got to go through. I wonder if Rick had those dirtbag moments too. Like,
yeah, he did. He used to, well, by choice, I believe he used to sleep on the ground so that he was more one with the area.
No way. During tournament, like he'd sleep on the ground.
I can't say that's for sure, but I've heard vibes. That.
That's cool.
I feel like I've heard something like that, actually.
Yeah. I haven't heard that from the man himself. I may have to ask him that.
Yeah.
I do feel like if that's crazy.
True. But that he used to like sleep on the ground. You keep looking at your camera. Is
it
running out of battery?
No. I thought it would only record the 59 minutes and 59 seconds. So we're at a minute or an hour and 11 minutes on the camera.
Yeah. We're an hour and 5 on here.
Hour and 5. But I mean, we're totally good. I just keep glancing over to see if there's a little red record button. This is just the cameraman in me.
Yeah.
We're still rolling.
Yeah. You talk about my perfectionism like I'm the only one.
Well, I'm not. I'm far from perfectionist.
What about editing?
I'm still
camera
like
work, editing.
Closer. I'm less of a perfectionist than you. I'm very like, look at my van, dude.
Yeah,
would you ever imagine yourself living in my van, my dirty van?
Well, I'm not going to say I imagine myself living in your van a lot, but that's creepy. But I mean, I did live that lifestyle.
No, 100%, yeah.
It wasn't in what is she, 1986?
95.
1995 Chevy G20.
Yep. Beautiful vehicle.
Two-wheel drive.
Heck yeah.
Two-wheel drive.
Stuck in my flat driveway.
I literally was pulling into Brandon's driveway. No, like, no joke.
Wait, what?
Think of like an ice rink, okay? Brandon's in the entire drive down his like road, like a mile, is like ice. And I'm like, dude, like whatever, made it almost all the way. Get to like his driveway to go to
one
his
corner.
House. One more corner. And I'm like joking around and like had fun. I literally spun Brody's in like the cul-de-sac area in the ice. Cause it's like I could ice skate down this better than I could drive. And I get to the last corner, just like a slight corner, and I go to turn, and two-wheel drive van, super heavy front. I turned left and I like no left turn. I just went straight right into like the ditch. Right, like 100 yards from his house, and like I just go into Brandon's house, and like we did whatever way, like we had dinner or whatever and chatted whatnot, and then like an hour later I was like, oh yeah, I was like, dude, my van's in the ditch, like just outside on your driveway, and Brandon walks out and actually helped me get out. But yeah, it was like a super casual thing. Like you kind of just gotta understand you're gonna get stuck occasionally.
Yeah, he was like, oh. Yeah,
I was like, no, I know Brandon has like trucks in there. He can get me out,
I mean, like, yeah, not much to worry about. But
worst case scenario, you know, I just like throw some sandbags underneath the tires. But yeah,
it was just a very Kyle moment.
Yeah,
but that I will admit that is the most ice I've ever seen on any like road ever. Like I legit would have been able to ice skate down it better than I would anything else.
That's crazy.
It was just one sheet of ice.
It was terrible.
Yeah,
I'll give you that. But it was just funny that.
It is funny.
It was partially because it was icy, partially because you were most likely driving too fast coming around that corner.
Can't confirm that or deny.
Spins 3 Brodies and then comes in a little hot to the corner into my driveway and wheels fully cranked to the left and keeps sliding straight forward.
It's like, and we're here.
And we're in the snow.
Everybody knows that feeling though.
Stuck in the snow. Oh, yeah.
And the snowbird, you just know you're going into it, and you're like, all right, well, it's happening.
I just loved that it was in my driveway.
Yeah.
That is funny.
So, well.
Good spot to do it.
We're in almost an hour and 10 minutes into this thing.
Is there a cap on these unnamed podcasts?
Well, since it's the first one, and, yeah, there's not a cap. It could be 3 hours long.
Yeah.
When I did the Meat Eater one, it was 2 hours and 45 minutes, and we all looked it down and went, whoa.
Does time go faster when you're podcasting? Combos. Yeah, I feel like I looked down, I was like, holy cow, we're at an hour?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot more to talk about, but.
Yeah. We're going to have Chad back, for sure.
Well, that's kind of my feeling. I want to, like, save it.
There's deeper stuff. I feel like we're just scratching the surface of what Chad is.
Especially since we don't know what we're
I'm like a doing. Scratch and sniff.
What would the smell? Like, how would you describe the smell, though?
I was hoping we wouldn't go there, but
Yeah,
We're
probably like mid hockey bag / like unwashed comforter.
With like a hint of like hydrilla on your front deck.
Yeah. And like kind of musty. That's basically the back of my truck. But I aired it out today. It was pretty nice.
none of that sounds like an air freshener that I want.
Yeah.
Minus the Hydrilla. I could get down with a Hydrilla air freshener.
Yeah.
That might be some. I mean,
It was a business idea.
Yeah.
Now we have business ideas.
You have fishing.
What would you like? Would you like our
Hydrilla?
Hydrilla, our eelgrass?
Do you want
Would you like a
one
little coontail scent in there?
We also have shad, crawfish, and and frog.
Mix our scents. You can have shad spawn in the Hydrilla, shad spawn on Rip Rap, shad spawn on Slimy Dock.
Ugh.
I feel like this is something.
There's potential there. Let's not give all the deets yet.
I think we already did.
Dang.
Yeah, that's about all I got in there.
At least give us a shout out if you started that company with air fresheners,
We could even cut them into the shapes of what they smell like.
or just like
You know, like little trees. Except they're not actually cut.
Trees.
They're just cut out into the brand. They're not cut out into what they smell like. I mean, let's be honest. How are you going to cut something into look like black ice?
True. I mean, what are the black
That's a
ice
good
ones
point.
still? Well, we're getting really
yeah, those-
derailed here.
Yeah, those. Yeah,
We
yeah.
went down. We went down portal. That's you can't.
We're going to talk about this. No, I'm going to have my buddy Jordan on here. And we're going to talk about black ice Christmas trees.
black ice.
Yeah, he's deathly allergic to the black ice scent.
yeah.
Oh snap!
Jordan, you know Jordan.
Yeah.
Jordan's our boat driver in Tennessee.
Tennessee, Knoxville. Yeah.
Yeah, around Knoxville area.
Dang.
Actually, next
He's
year's
gonna-
classic,
Oh man, dude,
Jordan may be our boat driver.
Knoxville.
Yeah. He's actually the reason that I don't have black ice anything. Because if he ever hops in my truck, I don't want him to die.
Yeah, that's brutal. I have black ice in my truck, so if I ever meet him, don't let him in.
See, it's a very common scent.
Yeah, yeah.
So now you smell like musty used hockey bag Hydrilla black ice.
He's an
Yes.
evolving man. He's the bass angler that's just evolving right in front of our
I
eyes.
prefer the term a la carte.
Welcome to Chad's burrito scent.
Yeah. Dang it. That would have been better. I prefer burrito.
Back of your truck's a scent burrito.
Dude, nice burrito.
Burritos smell good though.
Dude, I get down with the burrito. That smell of a burrito, you know you're like about to have a good time. Is that weird? This is the hungry Kyle after I've had dinner, but still hungry for burrito.
And there's still one cookie.
Dude, we got to
I only ate half my cookie because I kept talking. I took one more bite when Chad was talking, but I felt like I was just like making too many sounds.
I know. I was definitely like way leaned back eating that cookie.
Yeah,
I'm curious if we can still hear it.
we'll find out here shortly. All
Can
right,
I give one word of advice to the world?
please, yes, let's close this off. Actually, we're gonna
It's-
close
it's
it
not-
off. We're gonna
it's not
be
that serious.
We're gonna be official. You're gonna give a word of advice, and then you're also gonna talk about where people can follow you.
Oh, okay. Well, my grandma always taught me, always eat dessert first because you never know when the world will end.
That's pretty solid.
Sounds like something Tiff would say.
And yeah, just on the cookie topic.
Mm.
But
Good ice cream.
otherwise, yeah, all my social media tags are just Chad Smith Fishing .com on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
You know, spell that out for us. Totally kidding.
Okay.
I think most people can get Chad Smith.
Yeah.
I wish it was the first name,
Chad
the
Smith
full first
Fishing.
name.
Oh yeah.
We're not going to give that away yet.
Okay. Okay.
That's next podcast.
Cool.
Chad, yeah. Next time we have Chad on, we'll get into his family history. We're gonna let you brush up on your family history.
Yeah,
a little bit,
I'm gonna need some homework to do for
but
that.
just to let you know, his actual
Yeah,
first
Chad
name
Smith is not
is-
my real name. Okay, Smith is my last name, but I have Chad is not.
he
And
has
it's
a
not
much
Chadwick.
he has a much lengthier first name and possibly an even more interesting middle name.
It'll surprise you. Honestly, it threw me a little bit.
So,
Yeah, I gotta really work up the courage to drop that on the mic. Just kidding. No,
we're not there yet.
It's my name.
We're going to build up his confidence of his given name. And next time we have him on, we're going to talk about it. So, thank you everyone for listening. If you've made it this far, if you have any name ideas, please do tell, because at this point, this is the unnamed podcast. It doesn't have a name.
My vote's for outdoor burrito, but it's cool.
Outdoor burrito or the outdoor burrito?
Probably just outdoor burrito.
Yeah.
Okay. Chad definitely liked that one when you said it.
Yeah.
Over the.
Yeah.
Especially since he's brought up burrito, and that's now became our term for a mixture of all things.
Encapsulating everything good into one thing.
No,
Hey.
It's got a great meaning behind it. But if you've got better ones, please do tell. I guess you subscribe. I mean, we're going to put this everywhere.
Spotify,
you can watch it
YouTube
on
channel.
YouTube because right now we're currently filming this in the back of my trailer.
Hey, not perfect. But
Yeah.
Amazon was started in a garage.
It's not perfect, but it's executed.
Yeah. I
Lots
like
of
that.
things were started in garages.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it. We're signing off. Appreciate everyone listening. We're going to go eat some cookies, and we're going to go do some bassing tomorrow. Me and Kyle are. Chad's driving.
Yeah.
Chad has fishing business to go do.
Yeah.
If you guys go to simsfishing.com, you'll actually see Chad
Poster child.
all over the website. Yeah. Chad is definitely a poster child for them. So shout out to Sims for using him. He makes for a good model. See you guys on the next one.